finally took some time and ran away from work to go and watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Don't tell my job, but I had to get that done. So I finally saw the movie, and this is going to be my top 10 takeaways from it. Yes, there are going to be some spoilers here. I really can't do this without the spoilers. Sorry about that. I will try my best not to spoil the movie, but there are going to be some spoilers in it. If you want to watch the movie first and then come back to this, not a problem, but there are going to be some spoilers here going forward. So before we even dive into this, there's a line that Deadpool says in this movie where he says, "Welcome to the MCU. You're joining us at a low point," and I think that's very accurate for what the MCU has become, and a little accurate for this movie also. But let's dive into it. My top 10 takeaways from Deadpool and Wolverine. Start off at number 1. You will laugh. Yeah, there's no pretending when it comes to this movie you're going to laugh. I mean, Deadpool delivers some of the best deadpan comedy yet. He does it really well. That's sort of the whole thing about it. It is funny. There are points in where you are going to be laughing. If you just chuckle at one point, you will laugh at another. I was in the cinema there and people were laughing. I was laughing. Yeah, you are gonna laugh. There's no denying that. I mean, the humor is part of what he says, and then certain things that happen. Yeah, it's bloody funny. I'm not gonna deny that. You are gonna laugh. You really are gonna laugh. Number 2, and we get a little more sullen, the anchor beans. Okay, so the point of this movie, as they say, is that in the world that Deadpool lives in, because yes, this is Earth 10005, because the multiverse must ruin everything, right? On this world, this is the one where they had the Logan movie, where Logan died at the end, and apparently Logan is what they consider an anchor bean. Apparently, it's a bean that is so important to that reality's universe that when they die, the reality ceases to exist. This may happen sometimes over a period of 1,000 years or something like that, but the reality ceases to exist because of this anchor bean, which is actually really stupid, because you're basically putting it like, Earth is the center of the universe, and people on it and stuff are so important that once they die, the universe just basically goes into cardiac arrest. That's not how the universe works. Yes, it will. I mean, there are certain events that will happen that are essential to certain things, but the universe corrects itself and moves along. They tried this nonsense in the last Infinite Crisis animated movie, where they said like Darkseid was so important, and because he dies, it started to create all these multiverses, which was just really, really stupid. You understand me? You cannot act like a person, a single being, is such an essential part of a universe, especially someone from Earth or something like that, that these things fall apart, because for every reality, there is going to be other powerful beings in it. There are going to be celestials. There are going to be, Thanos, eternity, infinity, all these different things. And if you're telling me that all these entities are just going to get erased because one person kicks the bucket, that's kind of a ridiculous plot. It goes on to feed into a much bigger problem that this movie has. But that's just the beginning. That is the thing about it. The whole anchor beans thing doesn't work. You're trying to establish galactic level scales to a movie that should not have that in it to begin with. It really shouldn't. I mean, if you want to put in the multiverse element, because they put it into everything now, because literally Marvel and the MCU can't stop themselves anymore. But you really need to stop doing that. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. Even Deadpool says it in the movie when he talks about how, the multiverse needs to stop. It stop doing it. It's not fun anymore. It really doesn't. And you throwing in these anchor beams doesn't work. I mean, one theory, and I will do a video talking about this, is that with the whole Tony Stark now as Iron Man, now as Doctor Doom, no longer Iron Man thing, that it was probably some kind of anchor beam, and they had to find another one. Which, I mean, again, it's just really, really ridiculous. What that whole anchor beam thing wasn't working for me. Number 3, Deadpool. There is no other way to put this. Deadpool carries this movie. That's it. Deadpool carries this movie. If Deadpool was not in this movie, it wouldn't be interesting in any way, shape, or form at all. Literally, Deadpool carries this movie. That's not to say that Wolverine doesn't have a part to play in it as well. Yes, he does. But what I'm saying is, Deadpool moves this movie along. Like, for instance, take this for instance. The first Deadpool movie, I actually really liked it. It was grounded. That a reason he was going after this guy and for what he was happening. Okay. The second one, I wasn't such a big fan of it. Honestly, wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest with you, because yes, they had cable and so on, but he wasn't a big fan of it. But Deadpool carried that movie as well, and he does it with this movie too. The jokes, the way that he makes things seem funny, the way that he breaks the fourth wall, the way that he just pulls everybody into his nonsense along with it. And people are there trying to act serious and trying to act like, this guy's a complete moron and love. But it can't be stopped. And this is one of the cool things about it, because the first time we got some version of Deadpool in our Wolverine movie that wasn't very good. But ever since Ryan Reynolds started doing Deadpool the way it's supposed to be done, this has been absolutely fantastic. He has played this character well. I don't see anybody else taking over as Deadpool. Maybe somebody could come along later on and try it, but no, Ryan Reynolds has just locked this up, this role, everything. Once he puts on that costume and starts what he has to do, you really don't have any opportunity to take anything other than just enjoy yourself. That's it. Deadpool really carries this movie. Number 4, Wolverine. Or should we call him Sadverine? But, okay. The Wolverine in this movie is not the Wolverine from Logan. Yes, spoilers going forward here, yeah. We get that pretty early on when Deadpool digs up Logan's corpse and, there's a macabre killing scene with it. But, okay. This Wolverine is from another timeline, another Earth, because again, multiverse ruins every freaking thing. And this Wolverine is very sad because he didn't, he's literally considered the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. They're just really kind of stupid. Really kind of stupid, but again, this is what they do. I'm kind of getting tired of all these heroes being depressed and sad and, having to think. It's not fun anymore. You could have just gotten a Wolverine and worked with that, because Wolverine would still want to viciously stab Deadpool at every turning point, because Deadpool is annoying as hell and Wolverine, you could see that. You understand? I mean, even in the animated movie Wolverine and the Hulk, you understand? When the scenes you got from Deadpool and Wolverine, you could tell Wolverine was really, really annoyed by him and stuff like that. So it could work with Wolverine. You don't always need some sad, depressed Wolverine who wants to drink his life away and constantly says that he's not the guy. We got that in Logan. We got it. You could have just brought in a Wolverine that wants to actually do something. And yes, I'm not gonna deny it. Hugh Jackman has aged. You could see the age in his face. Yes, but he still does deliver a really solid performance as Wolverine. He really does. And they make no notion of highlighting him with his shirt off to show everybody he's still in good shape. But again, I'm saying he really does nail the role. He has played Wolverine numerous times before, And one thing I really liked about him in this movie, that you actually got to see him fight more like Wolverine. As I mean, previous iterations, you have seen him do certain more like a kind of slash and go. This time he was stabbing, running on the ground kind of thing. You actually got to see that, and I really did enjoy it. I really did enjoy seeing him portray more of a Wolverine-like fights, and yeah, overall, really nice. Good to see him with the regeneration and everything like that. Yeah, really did happen. Really interesting. It really was bloody funny and stuff like that, especially when another spoiler here, when he took on Sabertooth and cut his head off, and Deadpool called up and said that this is furious. That was bloody funny, but I'm telling you, you will laugh when it comes to this movie. You will laugh. Number 5, Johnny Storm. Okay, before I even get into Johnny Storm, let me just say this. Chris Evans can come back as Captain America. From what I saw, his short part in this movie, he could still do it. I'll get into that more in some videos I plan to do about the wrap up from San Diego Comic Con and all that. But I'm just saying he could come back at it. But in this movie, we get a look at what happens to all the Fox superhero movies, which I will cover later on. But I want to talk about Johnny Storm here. When he does that whole flavor together, like, wait, what? that was funny, but the funniest part of this whole thing is how Deadpool set up that man to get killed. But that was some absolutely brilliant work on their part. Like I say, you are gonna laugh, but oh Lord, I tell you, the way he literally, you understand me, spoon-fed that man to his own demise was beyond freaking funny. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not gonna spoil it, but oh Lord, why was it hilarious? It was beyond hilariously funny. Yes. Number 6, Cassandra Nova. Now, for those who may not know who Cassandra Nova is the evil twin sister of Charles Xavier. She has psychic abilities, incredibly powerful psychic abilities like Charles Xavier. Only thing is, she's a homicidal lunatic who tried to strangle Charles in the womb with his own umbilical cord. Now, the Cassandra Nova in this movie, apart from seriously needed a sandwich, boy, Lord, that woman was skinny, boy. She didn't even have front and a back. She had like a bald head. That was it. But anyway, that Cassandra Nova in this movie is supposed to be the main antagonist, but it's like there are two main antagonists, and this is a problem that when they have with these multiversal movies, you always have some organization doing this, some evil person who can't be controlled doing this, somebody who's working with somebody who's working with the evil person, and then the evil person turns on them and tries to destroy everything. It's a pretty standard thing that they always do with this, and this was kind of Cassandra Nova's downfall. If you wanted to have her as a main villain, you could have had her as a main villain, but the fact that you threw her into this multiversal mess kind of just diminished her as a character. I mean, the whole thing about her liking to stick her fingers in places inside of you and not in a good way, she'll understand in the movie. That was bloody freaking creepy, but again, she got diminished as a character because of the fact that this is once again another generic multiversal movie. If she had been done the way she should have been done, as just the main protagonist who's doing this, okay. Remember the main antagonist, who was doing this, okay. That could have worked. You could have had her as an evil entity who was doing these things. Yeah, we get that. But she kept bound down by certain things. That's not to say that, the abilities and stuff that she had wasn't interesting and cool to see. That would have been nice if she had just been able to carry her own without the same generic, bogging down of what all these multiversal movies have turned into. That's kind of my thing. Because she was basically just like a kind of like a less crazy version of Scarlet Witch from Multiverse of Madness. Honestly. Number 7. We finally find out what happened to the Fox superhero timeline. Okay. Let me start off before I even go into. Let me start off this very, very clearly and say Wesley Snipes as Blade was in this, right? He was older, but still nailed that role. I'm telling you, he even said that there's only ever been one Blade, and he's right. Honestly, if they did a Blade movie with Wesley Snipes and that was a little older, I would watch that. Now, I don't trust the MCU to do it, but I'm just saying, if they did that, I would watch it because he still got the gravitas of Blade. He still got it. He still has it, and it is apparent when you see it. The man could still play that role. Honestly. That being said, I don't really want it to come back because after the 3rd movie is kind of a drag. But if they could do a really good movie with him, yeah, no problem there. But he still got it. We also get to find out what happens to some of the other heroes. From the X-Men Fox timeline, we got Pyro is his name, Toad, Juggernaut, Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and then we found them. Apparently, they were all thrown into the void, which is where yet another this whole time variance authority, because apparently the multiverse needs about 100 different agencies, running and grinding little fingers through everything. Things that are unwanted get thrown there. So apparently they are all unwanted, and that's where they ended up. And we also got, like I said, Johnny Storm as well was there. We don't see the rest of the Fantastic Four. Don't know what happened to them, but that was there. Elektra is there also. Yeah. Elektra Natchios is there also. Played by Jennifer Garner, which, because of that thing, I mean, I could understand why she was there because, that whole Elektra movie was kind of a waste of time, to be perfectly honest with you. Channing Tatum played Remy LeBeau, and I mean, I couldn't understand half of what he was saying, honestly. Half of what he was saying, to be perfectly honest with you. But, I mean, if they got a good actor to play Gambit and they could do a Gambit movie, that would be really nice. Not a problem with you there. X-23 was there also. Daphne Keane played X-23 was there, which wasn't shocking because the minute they started talking about Logan, you kind of knew she was going to show up there, so that wasn't a shocker at all. I mean, when they all had to fight, their fight scenes weren't bad. Their fight scenes were not bad at all. You understand me from what you were getting with it. It wasn't bad at all, but again, that's where they kind of ended up. Nobody was interested with it, so they kind of dumped them wherever they're going to dump them. That's the whole thing about it. So that's what happened to the Fox superhero universe. Apparently, it's just been dumped in the void because apparently it's no longer whatever it's supposed to be. Number 8, PLOTLESS nostalgia beat. I'm going to be honest with you here, people. While I'm going to say again, you're going to laugh, you enjoy yourself, it's a wild ride, all of that, okay. This movie really has no plot. It really doesn't make much sense. And if, Deadpool wasn't in there to pull it along, this wouldn't even make back, to be honest with you, because it's just another generic multiverse movie. Honestly, because the whole thing about it is that Deadpool's timeline is going to be, let's just say that Deadpool's world, his universe is going to be erased. Because, like I said, the anchor being who is Logan is gone. And then, you could have had like a ticking clock. Like certain people start to disappear from his universe and he needs to stop it. and this agency doesn't want him to do it. I think that could work. Not this whole let's pull him in there, tell him our evil plan, and then he goes. It doesn't really work because there is no stakes, no nothing for anything like that. You understand me? And then the whole thing gets resolved rather ridiculously. It's just basically a movie that sets up for them to throw in a bunch of different nostalgia beat in there to get you going and say, well, okay, that's supposed to work. And it works because Deadpool is there to make it funny and move it along. That's the whole long and short of it. But apart from that, like I said, if he wasn't there, this is not going to go anywhere, anytime, any place of interest. The movie does not have a direction to it. They try to introduce a plot to make it seem like it's something, but it doesn't work. The couple hundred, when you put in like 100 different variants of Deadpool, it's not interesting anymore. They may have thought doing that was really interesting and stuff with that. Then again, it had a dog, which is the ugliest dog I've ever seen, but still. But it doesn't work. A couple, about 100 different variants of Deadpool is not interesting after because there's only one Deadpool and you're kind of like that. Have something else happen. Do something else. But when they keep doing these nonsense and they continue to do again and again and again and again with all this multiverse nonsense, they keep screwing themselves over. You're popping through different timelines to see different versions of Wolverine. You even had Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, all that stuff, and the other. Okay, that may seem funny as at the beginning, all right. And then you just keep dragging it out. There's no thing. There's no really any stakes. What happens to Deadpool? If he's on a ticking clock to save his universe, to bring one of the people that he loves, okay. Yeah, we see a bunch of them are all there, this over the other. Okay, but we need some kind of stakes to move forward, and it's not there. It's just another generic, multiverse MCU movie, and it's ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous. If you just kind of tune out your mind and just enjoy the laughter and the rest, I think okay, but at certain points you are going to watch it like, yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, but still interesting. I'm just saying. Number 9, the music. It had a lot of music in this, and it all worked really well. It worked really well. The music was really nicely done. Deadpool little dance number when he was doing things was funny. The music does work. It does tie into it. It does stuff and the other. It does work out and all of this and the other. One thing I will mention that I actually forgot to mention is that, Wolverine and Deadpool and their interactions are okay. It's really interesting. You know that these two are going to try to kill each other, but after a while it kind of becomes repetitive of them just constantly stabbing and impaling each other with try to move forward a little bit. But the music does make it work better. So, like I said, the music does really work with this. So the music, I will say, is really well done. Music is really well done. And I added point before I get to my last top 10 fact here. I want to say it's kind of a part one, part two kind of thing. Now, the movie does not drag in the early beginnings. It does not drag at all. It moves along at a brisk pace. Coming down to the end, however, it does kind of drag. Again, the music helps with it, but it does kind of drag a little bit at the end because you're expecting bigger stakes to happen and it doesn't. Kind of basically, the big plot kind of ends in a kind of ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie, but that's kind of, what it was about. But like I said, the music helped, so there is that. And finally, number 10. They're setting up for Deadpool to join the Avengers. This one is for, if you have seen the movie, you kind of know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm not going to spoil, but I'm just saying that there is a scene that keeps getting mentioned that basically look at a kind of angle set up for Deadpool to join the Avengers. The thing is, while that may seem like a fun concept to have Deadpool join the Avengers, which if done well it could work, I don't necessarily think it will, because the upcoming Avengers movies are going to have a very uphill battle. Reason being that the previous Avengers movies actually had a purpose and they actually got set up. They set up movies and stuff to move into it. We all knew what was being done was going into this thing to build on it and to move it forward. There is none of that now. And yes, they are going to make money with this movie. This movie is going to make money because it does have enough jokes and nostalgia bait to make it interesting. So it is going to make money. What I'm just saying is, if you just want to say, well, okay, Deadpool got a lot of laughs in this, made a lot of money, just move him into the Avengers, that's a tall order. Because you need an actual plot to move forward, but you're not really getting that with this. This movie, like most of the other Deadpool movies, have always been kind of standalone movies. They don't really fit into what you're trying to do. But you could tell Marvel's desperate at this point to try and get something going. So yeah, it's possible that they are setting up to have Deadpool join the Avengers. Big two problems with it is that there isn't anything to set up to it. And two, who's going to be on the Avengers team? That's another one I'll cover in a later on video. But yeah, that's kind of a big thing there. So okay, that's my top 10 takeaways from Deadpool and Wolverine. My final rating for this movie, I will give it a 3.3 out of 5. It is worth a look for the laughs and the enjoyment. Yes, you are going to enjoy it. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, having him back, really good. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, fantastic, done, really does carry this movie. But overall, it's just another boring MCU multiverse movie that doesn't have any kind of plot at all and just kind of relies on nostalgia bait, but Deadpool does save it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like it, be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, be notified every time I put out a new video, and I shall see you all next time. Take care.